Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man Score Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'll be reacting to my third and final scary storyteller for y'all. And this one is Nightmare Files. And the video that I picked out to watch is 4 disturbing true neighbor horror stories that will creep you out. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go. Nightmare Files. I love the beat of the music.
This story happened about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Me and my wife Rachel had just moved into a nice house. About 2 days after moving in, we met a middle-aged couple, Dennis and Laura. They were friendly and were nice neighbors, and we would often go over to their barbecues and evening dinners. We went to their house one night for dinner, and it went fine. We talked and laughed and got on great as usual. At one point during the dinner, I needed to go to the bathroom, and I excused myself.
You see, right there, everything seems normal and fine. You move into a neighborhood, you meet a nice, friendly neighbor couple, and they invite you to their barbecues and for dinner. You would think nothing would be wrong, right? But let's just wait and find out what this guy found out, shall we?
As I was walking, Dennis stopped me and said I needed to use the bathroom upstairs. I should mention that whenever me and my wife needed to use their bathroom, we always used their downstairs bathroom. This would be the first time going upstairs, actually. I had to try a few doors to see which one was the bathroom. I eventually opened the door to Dennis and Laura's bedroom.
Okay, red flag number 1. The neighbor told you to use the bathroom upstairs, and you've been using the one downstairs ever since you met them and visit with them. I'll be like, that's a little weird. I'll be asking him, was there something wrong with that bathroom? Or he's probably hiding something in there he don't want you to see, maybe.
I don't know why, but I just wanted to have a little look around. As nosy as it was, I'm glad I did. I was looking at the pictures on the nightstand, a few of Dennis and a few of Laura together, some of their children, and then one that took me by surprise. It was a picture that we had taken a few months ago. It was the 4 of us together. Only my wife's face was scratched out. I thought that's really sick and odd, and it was obviously done deliberately. After seeing this, it made me more curious to see what else was in their room. I opened up the few drawers to see the same thing, that same picture with my wife's face scratched out or cut out.
Okay, I'll be taking one of those photos, because if they got a bunch of them in their drawer, they wouldn't miss a single one. But then show the wife and call the police, because that is just not right at all. Almost like that couple just has a weird fascination of her being dead because they didn't like her so much, and that's why they got her eyes scratched out. I don't know, but that is just weird and crazy to find. I'm glad he did the right thing and kind of snooped around here.
A photo, just hundreds of them in their drawers. I felt pretty sick with worry at this point, but my curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to look some more. I opened up their closet, and what I saw gives me the chills to this day. It was a mannequin, with clothes very similar to what my wife wears. A large printed picture of her face was covering the head. This was creepy enough, really creepy. But what made it even more scary is, the mannequin was covered with knives and stabbed into the chest of the mannequin. I quickly put everything back to how it was and closed the closet door. I went back downstairs and I tried to act as normal as I could, even though I wanted to be sick with what I just saw. After a very weird and awkward evening, I was relieved to get away from them and get back home. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell her what I saw, but I told her to never speak to them again. And the strange thing is, Dennis and Laura completely avoided us and were pretty hostile towards us ever since. I have an awful feeling that somehow they knew what I just found out. We moved out of that house about 3 months after that. We never seen them again.
I mean, I would have been telling the wife, but then I know she probably would have been feeling like she wanted to throw up. But once you stopped speaking to them, they had to get all hostile because they probably knew that you found their sick photo collection in the mannequin with her face on it. I mean, if you had called the cops and made sure they got a warrant to search the property and they found that stuff, they would have been arresting them that night, and you wouldn't have to worry about them anymore, and you wouldn't have to move. But that's just crazy that the neighbors just really didn't like your wife for some odd reason. And they got sick fantasies to where they scratch her face off in the pictures and then they stab a mannequin that's dressed like her. Very creepy. But I'm glad they avoided a big situation and they're okay. And that's all that matters. So let's get to story number 2.
This story happened about 3 years ago. When I was 16, I had my first boyfriend, Ben, who just so happened to be my next door neighbor.
Okay.
For the first few months of dating, we were going fine, up until I had dinner at Ben's house one evening. His dad, Graham, gave me the creeps. From the first moment I ever met him, he was creepy to me. He shook my hand tightly and had a big grin on his face with his big, bulging eyes. At the dinner, I swear Graham never took his eyes off of me at all. Every now and then, I would glance over to see if he was still staring at me, and of course he was.
That's not only weird, but rude all at the same time. Because I believe your boyfriend's might be one of them pervs. That's why he keeps on looking at you weird. Like he's eyeballing you up and down to see what sick pleasure he would do to you. Which is very disgusting of me to say. And plus, if you try to whisper that you feel uncomfortable to your boyfriend that you just started dating, he'd probably just say, oh, he does that all the time. Or try to give some other excuse for him. But yeah, that would be creepy to see.
From then on, I spent more time around Ben's house. We would watch movies in his room, play video games, or just study homework. Whenever I was at Ben's house, his dad would always be lingering around. Like he would always burst into the bedroom without knocking, asking things like, how's everything? Or, I thought I heard you calling me. Basically an excuse to come in. It's like he wanted to catch us doing something, if you know what I mean.
Golly, he's really overprotective of his son. I mean, they're just studying or playing video games or watching a movie. But she may be right. If he did that while they were making out, he probably would have got a sick satisfaction overseeing that. Ugh.
And whenever I would go to the bathroom, of course, he would try and come in, even though the door was locked. He would knock and say, oh, I didn't realize someone was in the bathroom. This creepy stuff went on for a while, maybe about 2 months, but there was just one incident that really scared me. Ben asked if I can go to the basement and grab a couple of pops. I went down there and looked around in the fridge to see what drinks they had. Then I heard the door close. It was the basement door. And then his dad came walking down the steps. He asked me what I was doing down there, and I told him I was just grabbing some pop for myself and Ben. I smiled and walked past him and headed up the stairs. I tried to open the basement door, but it was locked. His dad locked it behind him. I turned around and said, sir, could you help? The door is stuck. He didn't reply. I went back downstairs and I saw his dad with his top off, rolling a can of Sprite on his body, saying, it's a hot day, isn't it? I was extremely uncomfortable. And I asked once more, could you open the door because it seems to be stuck? I didn't say lock because I didn't want him to know I was uncomfortable. He said to me, here's the key, and placed it on a small table next to him. And then he said, come and get it. While smiling with his tongue rubbing against his teeth, I let out a nervous, awkward laugh as I thought he was joking.
No, apparently he ain't. He wants you to see if you grab the key and then he'll lunge and try to sexually assault you. If he tries to do that, hit him over the head with one of them soda pops, grab the key and run upstairs and let your boyfriend know what his dad is doing.
He wasn't. I crouched down to grab the key, but just as I did, I could feel his face near mine, and he was smelling my hair. I could hear him, really close, breathing in through his nose. As soon as I got the key, I sped, walked up the stairs to open the basement door. I just left at that point, and I went home and cried in my bedroom. I never told anyone this story, and I broke up with Ben shortly after this incident. We lived there for 2 more years after that, until we moved away. Every now and then, I would see his dad in his garden or something, and he would always give me that same creepy smile like he did in the basement.
Well, I'm glad you avoided a nasty situation, but I still would have told Ben because then he would have got after his dad for harassing his girl, and you probably would have been fine after that. But I get it. You had to break up with him because if he's still living there with his dad, you don't want to be around the father if he keeps on acting like that. But that definitely was a close call moment for sure.
We used to have this neighbor. His name was George. He was about 50 years old at the time. He lived alone, and I swear all he used to do was just stare out his window,
That'd be
giving us
creepy.
dirty looks. Whenever kids would knock on his door asking for their ball back, he would always curse at them and make a big fuss about it. Sometimes, he wouldn't even get the ball back until a week later, when he would just puncture the ball and it would be flat, and then he'll just throw him over the fence.
Now that right there tells you that he's one rude, non-caring SOB because he gets agitated if kids accidentally throw their balls in the backyard of his place. But he really didn't have to puncture them and throw them over the fence. But that would be kind of creepy if you see him just staring.
He was a moody old guy. But every second weekend of the month, he would go fishing for 2 days. I was 15 at the time of this story, and one day myself and my friend, we came up with an idea to sneak into George's house. Because as dumb teenagers, we thought it would be hilarious. So that following weekend, George left for his weekend fishing trip. And that same night, me and my friend, who was sleeping at my house at the time, we snuck out late and went to check George's creepy house. I always knew he left a spare key under his plant pot, so getting inside was easy. I know this is breaking and entering, but what we discovered in the house made me thankful that my friend and I came up with this dumb idea. We looked around George's house. Most of the rooms were pretty normal as far as normal goes. My friend went off and looked around the other rooms while I went into his office. There was a computer there. I moved the mouse around and clicked on the login. Funny enough, he didn't even have a password. I looked around his PC desktop at what applications he had.
I mean, he's right. That is technically breaking and entering. But since he said the neighbor was out and he knows where he kept a spare key, they were going to explore. But they better hurry up before someone calls the cops thinking that you're trying to break in and steal something.
Pretty basic stuff, but I noticed a file called Favorite Photos. I clicked on it and saw hundreds and hundreds of inappropriate pictures of children in our neighborhood.
Oh, hey,
I
no.
was thinking to myself, what the hell is this? Just as I was looking at this sick stuff, I could hear my friend loudly whispering to me from another room, saying I need to look at something right now. I left the computer desk and went to have a look. My friend found a duffel bag with duct tape, sleeping pills, candy, a long piece of rope, crowbar, and a loaded gun. We were both in complete shock. I also told him, and I showed him what I found on his computer. We both were scared as hell, and it wasn't funny anymore.
No, it ain't funny. This is serious. This dude is not only a perv that spies on children, but he's one dangerous person since he's got rope and pills, candy, and a loaded gun. So if you don't hurry up and get out of there and get the cops to look at that stuff and just to get that guy arrested, then you'll be in trouble and probably never seen again.
We put everything back the way we found it and snuck out back to my house. Me and my friend didn't know who to call, so we didn't really want to call the police because we would have gotten in trouble for breaking in. We chose not to say anything to anyone until this story.
Bull crap. I know you were kids and were afraid of calling the cops because that would lead you to being in trouble for breaking in somebody's house. But if you explained to them that we just wanted to look around and explore while that old man was gone, but then we came across all this stuff, then they probably let you guys slide and arrest the old neighbor when he shows back up again. Because that neighbor of yours is one sick, twisted individual.
There used to be a young couple next door to me. Every other night, you could hear them arguing and fighting about something. Probably drugs, as a lot of shady characters would visit their house to deliver something. One night, they had a really bad fight, much worse than usual. You could hear them both shouting and crying, and something hit in the wall. And then suddenly the shouting stopped. Just completely stopped. No more noise whatsoever, and just nothing. I looked out the window, with the lights out, just to see if I could see anything out the ordinary. About 15 minutes after the fighting, a black van pulled up outside, and 4 hooded men got out and went inside. About an hour later, I could see the men and the neighbor carrying something into the van. It looked like large black trash bags. I phoned the police about what just went on and what I witnessed. They visited the next door neighbor and questioned the man. Apparently his girlfriend just left and decided to never come back. She never went missing or anything, she just left. I never believed it. I swear to this day he killed her, and they somehow got rid of the body. Nearly a year later, the man next door died of a drug overdose, and we never found out the truth.
Bull crap on that. Because if the kid said he saw the two arguing and then a black van pulls up and both the driver of that vehicle and the neighbor carry out what looked like black trash bags and the guy takes it off, that tells you right there he did delete her. Now that that dude died, you don't have to worry about him coming after you for knowing too much. But if he did delete his girlfriend, he would be avoiding jail time, but he can't avoid the devil's hot pit. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications for more Nightmare Files content like this. This has been another successful installment of Tim Man's Quarter Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tim Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.